Planes are still touching down. Passports still get that familiar click at customs. But let's be real. Something feels different. Those warm welcomes American tourists used to count on, they're being replaced with digital hoops, surprise fees, extra paperwork, and yeah, even a few frosty glares. So what's going on? Did policy shift? Has global perception changed, or is the world just done rolling out the red carpet for the American passport? From sudden visa requirements to quiet behind-the-scenes changes, things are definitely not what they used to be. And this isn't just about one or two countries. Nope, today we're diving into 10 places where being an American traveler in 2025 isn't quite the VIP experience it once was. Number 9, Iraq. First, check your passport. Then, check the headlines. Because if Iraq is on your travel list for 2025, brace yourself. Both the world and your welcome there have changed. For years, American citizens could enter Iraq, but under strict conditions. Diplomatic assignments, government work, or very carefully planned tourism. But now, the walls are higher and the warnings louder than ever. The U.S. State Department ranks Iraq among the most dangerous travel zones, citing terrorism, kidnappings, militia threats, and ongoing unrest. That part isn't new. What is new is how Iraq is now rethinking who gets in, and who gets the most scrutiny. Let's be blunt. American passports now carry more than just stamps. They carry baggage. In early 2025, Iraq started reworking its visa policies for U.S. travelers, tightening entry and requiring pre-approval through its embassies. No electronic visas, no tourist waivers, no quick getaways. Show up unprepared, and you're not just turned around. You could be detained, questioned, or red flagged. In certain regions, just holding a U.S. passport could put you at personal risk. And no, this tension didn't just appear overnight. It's deeply rooted in politics. Recent U.S. airstrikes, ongoing regional rivalries, and a growing resentment over America's military legacy are fueling a clear shift. Iraq isn't slamming the door shut entirely, but it's definitely locking it. So, is Iraq done with American tourists? Not officially, but let's just say the red flags are everywhere. This isn't casual travel anymore, it's not spontaneous, and it's definitely not safe. And here's the real twist. If Iraq is starting to shut down access now, who's next? More countries are watching, more are making moves. So, before we get into the next name on the list, which might seriously surprise you, hit that like button and subscribe. You're going to want to see what's coming. Number 8, Spain. Sun-soaked plazas, lazy Sunday siestas, sangria by the sea. Spain feels like the ultimate postcard come to life. But behind that charm, there's a quiet shift underway, and most American travelers don't even see it coming. By late 2026, that carefree stroll through Spanish customs, it's over. No more just flashing your passport and waltzing in. A new system is arriving, the European Travel Information and Authorization System, better known as ETIAS. Technically, it's not a visa, but let's be honest, it sure acts like one. You'll need to apply before you board your flight. That means filling out a detailed form, answering questions about your health, your travel history, even your criminal background. And then, you wait. Get one detail wrong and boom, you could be denied. The fee? Just €7. The potential delay? Several days or more. Spain, like the rest of the Schengen zone, is putting real red tape between American travelers and their Mediterranean getaways. So what's driving this? Is it about safety, a tit-for-tat policy, or is there something deeper going on? Because here's the thing, when one of America's most beloved travel spots suddenly draws a line in the sand, it's not just about paperwork. It's a signal, a shift in tone, maybe even a wake-up call. And guess what? Spain isn't the only surprise on this list. Hit that like button and subscribe because number 7 takes things in a whole new direction. Number 7, the Netherlands. You step off the train in Amsterdam ready for canal cruises, art museums, and that crisp Northern European air. But something feels different. Not the city, not the weather, the rules. Because starting in late 2026, the Netherlands, along with every country in the Schengen zone, is flipping the script on how Americans enter. That once mighty passport, it now comes with a digital gatekeeper. ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. It's not a traditional visa, but it's definitely a new kind of barrier. To get in, Americans will need to apply online before traveling, fill out a form, pay a €7 fee, and answer detailed questions about your health, your travel history, even your criminal record. Most approvals come fast, sure, but some could take up to 30 days. And if you're denied, there's no appeal, no negotiation, just a hard no. In real terms, say goodbye to spontaneous weekend trips to Amsterdam. No more last-minute flight deals or impromptu Euro getaways. You'll need to plan or risk being grounded. So what's driving this change? European officials say it's about tightening security and controlling who enters their borders. But for American travelers, the message is loud and clear. The red carpet is being rolled back. And in the Netherlands, the shift isn't just digital, it's cultural. Amsterdam has been actively discouraging certain types of tourism. They've launched campaigns urging partygoers to stay home. There are stricter noise rules, fewer hotel permits, and new crackdowns in the red light district. The city is curating its crowd. And let's be honest, American tourists are increasingly seen not as guests, but as part of the problem. So yes, the Netherlands is still open in 2026, but the welcome is quieter, more selective, and way less forgiving. Seeing a pattern yet? Hit that like button if the vibe shift feels real. And subscribe, because the next country on this list might just hit a little too close to home. Number 6. France. You land at Charles de Gaulle, heart set on croissants, cafes, and golden afternoons by the Seine. But before you even get to say bonjour, reality taps you on the shoulder. A form, a fee, and a waiting game. Starting in late 2026, France is no longer the wide-open gateway it once was for American travelers. Thanks to ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System, your passport alone won't cut it anymore. Now, you'll need to apply before your trip. That means entering personal info, passport details, and answering questions about your health, travel history, and security background. The fee is small, just €7, but the potential delay, not so small. While most approvals happen quickly, some could take up to 30 days. No approval, no boarding pass, no Paris. So why the change? French authorities say it's about tightening security, stopping potential threats before they land. But for American tourists, it's more than just a form, it's a shift in tone. The era of spontaneous weekend escapes to Paris, pretty much over. Those magical last-minute getaways, now buried under digital paperwork and stricter scrutiny. And the message doesn't stop at the airport. France is stepping up enforcement on the ground too, especially in hotspots like Paris and Nice. There are new crackdowns on overcrowding, restrictions on short-term rentals, and a growing push to reclaim public spaces from the crush of mass tourism. So yes, the charm is still there, the art, the romance, the food, but now, the path in is more guarded, more controlled, more intentional. Feel that shift? If this is starting to reshape how you think about travel, hit that like button and subscribe. Because the next country on our list, it could completely change your perspective. Number 5, Germany. You land in Frankfurt, craving pretzels, precision, and that classic Bavarian charm. But before you even leave the airport, bam, a digital gate swings shut. Something's changed, and in Germany, the rules aren't what they used to be. Starting in the fourth quarter of 2026, Americans won't be able to just flash a passport and stroll into Germany anymore. Instead, they'll need to go through ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. No, it's not technically a visa, but let's be honest, it feels like one. Here's how it works. You'll need to fill out an online form, pay a €7 fee, and answer a stack of questions. Everything from your health and travel history to your employment and criminal record. While most approvals come through in minutes, some could take up to 30 days if your name gets flagged. And yes, that's a rule, not a rare case. ETIAS will be mandatory for all U.S. citizens entering Germany, or any Schengen country, for short stays up to 90 days. No exceptions, no last-minute getaways, no spontaneous Berlin weekends. If you don't plan ahead, you're not getting in. So, what's driving the change? European leaders say it's about harmonizing security, screening visitors before they land, instead of scrambling at the border. Fair enough. But here's the quiet part no one's really saying out loud. Americans never had to do this before. For decades, that blue passport was a golden ticket. No forms, no fees, no filters. That era? It's ending. Germany's rollout of ETIAS isn't just new red tape. It's a message. A shift in how welcome American travelers truly are. The doors are still open, but now there's a buzzer. And not everyone's getting buzzed in. Think this is just a policy tweak? Or are we witnessing something bigger? If that question's starting to stick with you, hit that like button and subscribe. Because number 4 might just flip your view of modern travel altogether. Number 4, Italy. You plan the dream trip. Pasta in Rome, pizza in Naples, sunsets melting into the Amalfi Coast. But just as you're about to take off, you're stopped. Not by security, not by customs, but by something new. A missing authorization. Starting in the fourth quarter of 2026, Italy will fully adopt ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. For the first time in modern memory, Americans will need to apply in advance, yes, even for a short vacation. It's not a visa, but it walks and talks like one. You'll need to fill out an online application, enter personal and passport details, answer questions about your health and travel history, and pay a modest €7 fee. Sounds simple, right? Well, here's the catch. While most get approved in minutes, some applications could take up to 30 days if you're flagged for additional screening. No approval, no flight, no entry. Italy isn't acting alone. All 27 Schengen countries are enforcing this, but it hits harder in a place like Italy, where American tourism isn't just welcome, it's part of the economy's lifeblood. So what changed? European leaders say ETIAS is about security pre-screening, catching risks before they cross the border. But others argue this isn't just about safety. It's about a bigger, quieter shift, a global recalibration of who moves freely and who now waits behind a digital gate. For decades, Americans treated Italy like a second home. No paperwork, no fees, no friction. Just book and go. But that carefree era, it's fading. And while the Colosseum still towers over Rome and gondolas still drift through the canals of Venice, the path to get there is now lined with forms, fees, and a little more hesitation. Italy hasn't slammed the door, but starting in 2026, it's asking Americans to knock first and wait for permission. And that raises a deeper question. How many will hesitate at the threshold? If this shift feels bigger than just travel, hit that like button and subscribe, because the top 3 will change how you see that passport in your hand. Number 3, Belgium. Waffles, medieval towns, chocolate shops, and the political heart of the European Union. Belgium has always been a favorite for American travelers, chasing both charm and diplomacy. But in late 2026, something shifts. That warm welcome? It's getting a new layer of security. Thanks to ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. Americans will no longer just hop on a plane and stroll into Brussels. Instead, there's a new gatekeeper, and it's digital. ETIAS isn't officially a visa, but it functions a lot like one. Before boarding your flight, you'll need to complete an online application with your personal information, passport details, travel plans, health status, and security background. The cost? A modest €7, but the real price might be time. While most applications are approved in minutes, some could take up to 30 days if flagged for additional checks. And without approval, you're not getting in. Period. So, why the change? As the center of European politics, Belgium is doubling down on security and migration controls. ETIAS is designed to spot potential threats before they land, and Belgium isn't cutting corners. Their enforcement will be strict. No exceptions, no grace periods. The impact on Americans? Spontaneity is being traded for structure. Weekend getaways, last-minute meetings, or surprise trips to Bruges now require planning, paperwork, and patience. With ETIAS, Belgium is sending a clear message. The doors are still open, but now they swing on digital hinges, with algorithms deciding who gets through. So when you picture Belgium's cobblestone streets and bustling markets, remember this. Starting in 2026, your journey begins long before you pack your bags. Like where this is heading? Hit that like button and subscribe, because the next country may be closer to home than you think. Why the scrutiny? Israel's unique geopolitical position and complex security landscape mean every visitor is carefully vetted. The country's borders may be open, but they're guarded with vigilance, and if you're not prepared for it, the experience can be jarring. So, is Israel still welcoming American travelers? Absolutely. But now it demands more than a passport and a plane ticket. It requires patience, preparation, and the understanding that things can shift fast. Because in today's world, even the most open doors come with locks, scanners, and questions. And while the sacred sites and the hospitality remain, the journey to reach them is no longer simple or guaranteed. If this gave you a fresh perspective on where travel is heading, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because number 1 is coming up next, and it might just redefine everything you thought you knew about American travel freedom. Number 2. Israel. A land steeped in ancient history, spiritual depth, and vibrant modern cities, Israel has long drawn American travelers in search of meaning, adventure, and culture. But today, getting in can feel less like booking a flight and more like applying for a loan. While most of Europe is tightening access through the upcoming ETIAS system, Israel isn't part of the Schengen zone, so no digital pre-authorization is required. But don't mistake that for easy entry. Israel has its own system, and it's one of the most intense in the world. Security screenings are famously thorough. Upon arrival, travelers can face detailed questioning, electronic scanning, and sometimes long delays, especially if you've visited certain countries, have an extended itinerary, or are a repeat visitor. And here's the twist. It's not always predictable. Some Americans breeze through, others pulled aside, interrogated, or even denied entry, with no clear explanation. Number 1, Austria. You're packing for Vienna, imagining elegant waltzes, steaming mugs of Viennese hot chocolate, and snow-kissed villages nestled in the Alps. But just as you finalize your itinerary, a message pops up on your screen. Travel authorization required before entry. Wait, Austria? Yes. Quiet, neutral, famously efficient Austria is joining the wave. Starting in the fourth quarter of 2026, Americans won't be able to simply land with a passport and stroll into Austria's Baroque streets. Instead, they'll need pre-approval through ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. It's not technically a visa, but functionally, it's close. To enter, you'll apply online, pay a €7 fee, and submit personal information about your identity, health, past travel, and security background. For most, it'll take just minutes. But if the system flags anything, your trip could be stalled for up to 30 days. Austria's embrace of ETIAS isn't just about bureaucracy, it signals something deeper. A shift in perception. A country once known for its seamless elegance is now digitizing its caution, and that caution is aimed even at travelers from long-standing allies. Here's the part that hits hardest. For decades, Austria welcomed American tourists without question. Just bring a passport, some curiosity, and maybe a love for Mozart. That ease was part of the charm, but in 2026, that charm comes with conditions. This is no longer about just borders. It's about mindsets. Austria is no longer treating U.S. travelers as automatic guests, but as applicants. The same trend that's sweeping across Europe is now being quietly enforced at Austria's airports and even land crossings. No more train hopping into Vienna without thinking. No more alpine retreats on a whim. The gates of Schönbrunn Palace still open wide. But the question is, will you be allowed to walk through them without delay? Because now Austria is asking Americans to do something they haven't had to do in decades. Knock and wait.